Welcome everyone. So today I want to show you a Stam Sorc heavy armor werewolf build. Believe me, the damage you can pull off in werewolf is insane, and you're really tanky because we are using heavy armor, and there is a reason why we are using a Sorc for this. I will get into that later. You will find the full guide on allcasthq.com/rage. I will also have a medium armor setup. I will also have a setup where werewolf ulti only costs 171 ulti points to activate and all that kind of stuff. So there is quite a lot of gear that comes in really handy while playing werewolf. Now for me the most optimal is in heavy armor. So just to show you the stats in human form, and I kind of buff myself up. I sit at 3.7k weapon damage, 35% weapon crit, 37k stam and 25k health. Now we're using the warrior Mundus stone and I'm using tri-stat buff food. I'll also tell you in a second why. Then just to show you the stats in werewolf form, fully buffed. You see, like in werewolf we sit at 5 to 5.2k weapon damage. I had a few Cyrodiil buffs there, and depending on what potion you use you have either 32 or 42 weapon critical. And now stamina, we have 47k stam. When you go werewolf you get more stamina, and believe me, you will need it because the skills cost a ton in werewolf form. Health is between 25 and 27k. Now you see the resistances. I didn't use Hurricane there. If I had used Hurricane there I would have almost 30k resistances, spell and physical. So now just to get back, first off we are a red guard. Like the red guard is the most optimal because of adrenaline rush. Every 5 seconds I basically get like 1k stamina back, so it's really cool. Then now to the gear. So basically we could have a lot more weapon damage, it's not really needed because we use a certain gear setup. So at the moment we have 3 agility jewelry, all robust. If you cannot get them in robust, get them in healthy. All weapon damage. Then I have 2 sharpened Lakis axes, one with the weapon damage glyph and another one with poison damage. Now let me just check. So now basically all my gear here is purple, so I could get even higher stats. Now I'm using Black Rose set. This set is one of the strongest heavy armor sets in my opinion because the 5-piece bonus, the Constitution passive gives 40% more. So what does the Constitution passive give? So heavy armor got a shit ton of buffs recently and it's insane actually. Now you see every 4 seconds I get 1.3k stamina and magicka back. So that's a lot, okay? It doesn't look like it's a lot, but it's a lot. Plus we also have rough, so every time we get hit we get 20 weapon and spell damage for 6 seconds, and it can stack up to 10 times, so we can get the extra 200 weapon damage. And you also see at the last bonus, like we get another 150 weapon and spell damage. Then I'm using Valid Ref. This drops in Cradle of Shadows. So you see, best is you would have an impenetrable one. If not, then either use sturdy or well fitted or reinforced. Now here you see 1-piece bonus is weapon damage, and the 2-piece bonus is that you have a 20% chance to shoot out kind of balls. Let's see, those greenish, you see those that went off, those green thingies. That's the Valid Ref set, and it deals quite a lot of damage actually. Like it did 10k non-crit, so on a player it will crit between around 8k most likely. So that's really nice, and it has a 10-second cooldown, but you see once the cooldown is gone it deals a ton of damage. Same here, I only have infused shoulder, that's why. Then now Make sure to get this in Impenetrable. Black Rose can be bought in Imperial City at the Telvar Merchant for 4 or 5k Telvar stones a piece. So it's really easy to obtain and it's really freaking powerful. Then, last bar. At the moment, I'm using the medals from Battle Axe. If you don't have the medals from Battle Axe, use a random two-hander axe. Just some axe if you want. The reason why you want to use axe is because of the bleed. Sometimes you get lucky and the bleeding procs from the passives from two-hander, and bleeding goes through shield, so it's really strong. Now, champion points. 87 mighty, 40 precise strikes, 30 shattering blows. So we have 30 points in here because of riposte. So when we block, we have a chance to return 6k damage to the enemy, so that's really cool, can come in really handy. And I have 20 points into Blessed to buff our healing a little bit. 57 tumbling, then 30 tenacity because we do quite a lot of heavy attacks. 90 warlord, then here I have 77 and 70 and 30. Most important is that you get the 120 points in here because of Unchained. So like your Stam cost of the skills gets reduced by 80% for 3 seconds after you break free. So that comes in really handy. Now, I don't want to go into the detail of the human form skills because if you play Werewolf build you should know what skills are here, because there is quite a lot you have to do before you transform into Werewolf to be most effective, especially if you play alone. So first off we have Deadly Cloak here. This is kind of an AoE damage skill. It also reduces the AoE damage from enemy by 20%, really cool. Crit Surge. Then we have Steel Tornado, Resolving Vigor, Hurricane and the Werewolf ulti. Now I use Steel Tornado here simply because there's so many Nightblades, and if they cloak you can use a tornado and it hits them out of cloak. And if you're in a group, Steel Tornado can be handy. Then Rally, Critical Rush, Reverse Slice. I choose Reverse Slice and not Othermorph because the splash damage you get is quite nice. Then we have Dizzying Swing. So this is our main like single target skill while we are not in Werewolf form. Dark Deal. We have really low recovery, so this one saves our ass quite often. So that's why we have so much Magicka, right? We have 15k Magicka. So every time we activate this skill we get 5k stamina back. That's kind of our main resource management. Then here, second bar. If you don't want to play with 3 bars overload, you can use Dawnbreaker of Smithing here. If you want to play with 3 bars, which I do recommend because you can have tons of skills here like Streak, the Rearming Trap, Defensive Rune. Defensive Rune is really cool, but it's kind of an anti-gank protection system because if somebody attacks you out of stealth he gets instantly stunned, plus he gets disoriented. Really, really cool. Another Vigor. I have this here on the bar too because sometimes when you're on this bar and you can't heal yourself you're gonna get wrecked. And then Speed Buff. I didn't morph it, but yeah, it's just sometimes nice when you want to mount and ride. You have to ride long distances. Now, to get into the werewolf form, or what should you do before you transform? So there is quite a lot to do before you transform. So first off, you need to make sure the crit search is running. That's the main reason why we use a Sorc. Because you see, while active, dealing critical strike heals you for 3k health. And in werewolf form we have quite a few nice dots and we attack really fast. So you will get crits quite often, plus we heal. So that's really, really cool. Then we have Hurricane. You see, like 15k physical spell resistance above 20k. So in werewolf form we will almost get 30k resistances, because you see, when you transform, your physical and spell resistance is increased by 9.966k. So that's really nice. Then To the werewolf skills, you see, I've chosen werewolf berserker because the bleeding you do is insane. Every time you basically do a light attack, it causes your enemy to bleed for 10k damage over 8 seconds. So it ticks for like 2k every second. That's a lot of damage. Now, just to get into the werewolf skills. Okay. So buff up crit surge, hurricane. If you want to use shuffle, you also can use shuffle. If you think you don't like need deadly cloak, for example, you can put shuffle here. So every time before you transform, you want to rebuff everything and then transform. I will get into more detail after I explained all the skills from werewolf. Now, feral pounce. Every time you jump to an enemy, you basically get another 4 seconds in werewolf time. Then Hirzin's Rage. This gives us another 10% weapon damage, really helpful, and this is our main heal. So this is a Magicka skill. So in werewolf form we have like 2.4k spell damage, and we sit at 15k Magicka, so the heal is actually pretty nice, which is really helpful because we need the heals, especially if we play alone. Then Ferocious Roar. So this is a 1 second fear. I will show you afterwards how it works. It has a 1 second cast time. It's basically the same as the fear from Nightblades, just it looks much cooler. Okay. Now Howl of Agony. You see this, it's basically instant wrecking blow, but check the second text. Damage against feared enemies is increased by 30%. So I'll show you afterwards in a fight what combos you can pull off in werewolf, or how you should actually fight, because you need to do certain things to especially kill really tanky targets. Then Claw of Life. This one, you see, also restores your health equivalent to 54% of the disease damage inflicted. So if you hit like 6 people with this claw, you get tons of healing, believe me. And the dot you do is really strong. Now to the passives. You see, we get a lot of heavy attack. Like our heavy attacks restore more stamina. Then Devour should be clear. Then Blood Rage. Every time, like many people ask me, how can you stay in werewolf form that wrong? So every time we get damaged, we get another 3 seconds in werewolf form. So that's basically how you can stay in werewolf form forever, as long as you get damaged. Then we get 18% more weapon damage in werewolf form. So technically you could get around 8 to 9k weapon damage in werewolf if you really want to, okay, with medium armor and a lot of support sets and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's for another day. Then here, this is also really cool if it's on werewolf bodies. Like the cost of remaining in werewolf is reduced up to 80%. Now those are the skills. So just to show you off a few of the skills when we are in werewolf. So you see all my skills stay, crit search and all that shit. And this is Hirzin's Rage. And we can dodge roll quite a lot because we have so much stamina, right? And when we fear enemies with this skill, like the Ferocious Roar, it has a second cast time, so you need to know that. It really helps. And then the Howl of Agony deals a ton of damage. And then we have the Claw. It's kind of like a bitch slap, at least it sounds like that. And now, why do we restore Magicka so fast? So the Black Rose set comes into play again. Every time we get hit, like every 4 seconds we get 1.3k stamina Magicka back. So we can heal up quite often. Then, depending on how you play, if you play solo, you only wanna stay in werewolf as long as crit search is running. Because afterwards, you will not get any other heals except for your Hirzin's Rage, this one. So once crit search is off, you transform back. If you're playing in a group, you can stay in werewolf form. Then, in terms of potions, so as long as I have crit search active, I can use this one. It gives us CC immunity, so we can pull off our combos. Gives us health and stamina. If you play in a group, you either can use those to get more weapon critical and weapon damage and all that kind of stuff. And you can stay in werewolf longer, and this way you get the weapon damage buff. Here you don't get it. Then we also can use speed pots. Werewolf is really fast and it actually can be fun to run really quickly. Now, another important thing to know is, while you are transforming into werewolf, you're damage immune for like 1 second. You need to know that. So in case some Sorc tries to roll over you, you just like smash the werewolf button and maybe it saves your ass, okay? Sometimes, but sometimes not. So again, really important, buff up before you transform. If you play solo, transform back once crit search is gone. If you're playing a group, you can stay in werewolf form because you get heals from other people or something like that. So that's basically it about the werewolf build. I will now show you an example of a fight just to show you how I play and what combos we can pull off. So, just as a heads up, for me the most, like the best combo you can pull in terms of skills in werewolf form, put the claw of life dot on the enemy, light attack a few times. Werewolf light attacks are really fast, so you get the bleed going, so you have 2 dots going, and then you want to use ferocious roar to fear them, and then you spam Hole of Agony and light attack. So you have a bleed, claw of life going, you fear the enemy, and you shoot the instant wrecking blow. And he cannot break free fast enough, okay? So you can use fear, Hole of Agony, and he will get hit. And most people die. Even those Malubev cancer builds can't freaking stand a chance. That's the main reason why I had to do a build like this. Because in human form you simply can't kill those dudes, but in werewolf they can die, believe me. Okay, let's get to the example. So here, this was in the Dark Brotherhood update. I'm wearing 5 pieces Black Rose, 2 sharpened Lakis axes, and the Vicious Serpent or Vicious Ophidian set, because I was testing out some stuff. Now, just to showcase you the power of werewolf, so let's just keep going on with the clip, and you see I really struggle in human form, but once I transform, it's fucking game over for those dudes. So now what you need to know is, the moment I transform, I'm damage immune for 1 second, and all enemies around me get feared. I put the AoE Claw of Life dot on both enemies, and then I just focus the Sorc, and you see, even though he's spamming shields, he can't out-heal my damage. Now I know this is a dodgy dude, so I just keep spamming my light attacks, which put the bleed on the dude, and he has trouble keeping his health up, and all I basically need is either to wait for his CC to run out so I can fear him, or I need only to hit the Hole of Agony, and then he's gonna be RIP. So that's already it. It will take time to get used to how you should fight with werewolf. But anyway, if you have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Cheers.